PASCAL. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody rise up. Weekdays catch us live. Somebody let's go.
Good morning. Good afternoon and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Hope the show finds you in great spirits because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. It is a blessing. It is a blessing. We got some things we have got to get into. There's a lot of things that happened last night, a lot of things that happened this morning, and there's a press conference that's about to happen any minute now. But you know how they are. They never start on time. So we got some things we're going to be looking at while we kill some time before this press conference, because this is the first press conference since what happened to Alex Pretti, 37-year-old Alex Pretti, who lost his life out there in the streets of Minneapolis protesting, holding a phone, not holding a weapon in his hands, just so you know. And for those of y'all who don't agree and think that that didn't happen, then y'all are blind. That's another conversation in itself. So please do me a favor before we get started, before we get this thing crack-a-lacking, hit that like button down below, crush it, do it, hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all of them. So make sure you hit that follow button. Follow, please, and thank you. Don't forget to subscribe here on my main channel right here on the YouTube channel, please, and thank you. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there. Hit that subscribe button over there as well. Also, go check out Pascal Raw. Subscribe there as well. That'd be greatly appreciated. Hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it is random. All right? Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. PascalMerch.com. Okay, baby. We got some things we have got to get into. As you guys already know, there is a press conference about to get started here any minute, aka any hour from now, okay? Because we know that they never start on time. They never start on time, like never. So we going to sit and we going to wait, all right? But we got some things we have got to talk about, okay? There is definitely things that we need to talk about. All right. There's a lot that's been popping off since last night. There's been things that happened this morning. A protester apparently got severely injured. And of course, there's a lot of information. There's people saying there's a lot of back and forth going on right now. Some people are saying that I guess this particular person was picked up a flashbang and it went off in their hand. Some people say that this person got shot and it went into their hand meat. So again, we're gonna be looking at that here in just a minute. But again, hopefully you guys are all doing well. For those of y'all who have been hit by this crazy winter storm, hopefully you guys are all staying warm wherever you guys are. All right. I know a lot of people their kids are still back home because school has been canceled. A lot of things have been canceled until, I guess, things won't start back up until tomorrow because of how bad it is out here in these streets. And again, be careful, guys, because, the ice will get you. That kind of worked, but kind of didn't all at the same damn time. Okay. But nonetheless, it is cold out there. It is very, very cold right now. And so be careful out there. Ice is really out there. Like, it's really slippery. I'm talking about real ice, not this stuff that's going on in Minneapolis and elsewhere. But ice is out there too. That other ice is out here. Ice agents. Okay. Ice agents. Okay. Dun 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 dun. They're out here, okay, too, and they may take your life. That's been confirmed. Just saying. So be safe out there, guys, because it's knucking futs out there in these streets. Okay? Because I love you. I love you. I always have. Yeah, I care for you guys. Okay? And we really give a damn over here at the Pascal Show. So be careful out there. ICE is everywhere. Just so you know. So anyway, there's been some things that have been going on. We're still waiting. Let's see if is she talking? So Caroline's supposed to be doing a press conference here in just a little bit. She's supposed to be giving us some updates and see. I want to see what's going to happen, because let me just tell you this. Trump did react. Well, he's been reacting. Let's not forget, he already said a few things on Twitter that were or on his Truth Social about this whole thing, and about what happened to Alex Pretti in the very, very beginning, right? He had a few things, excuse me, he had quite a bit to say about this man, right? Saying that this guy was a monster, right? And of course, saying all these talking points that, let's be real, Stephen Miller, Dr. Evil, and the likes of Kristi Noem, and now you got Gregory Bovino, all saying the same thing in unison, in chorus, right? All of them saying he's a domestic terrorist, right? He's a terrible human being. He got what he deserved. You don't bring a weapon to a protest, or in fact, they said you don't bring a weapon to a freaking riot. That's what they're saying. But it's funny because you look, and there's other people out here that have been saying that this guy was an unhinged individual. They're saying that Alex Pretti was crazy. He was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. There are people out here, I seen it. People are literally putting up posts online and putting Kyle Rittenhouse and Alex Pretti next to each other. And the people who are trying to move the goalpost, that are trying to make Kyle Rittenhouse still look like the hero that they are making him out to be, they're trying to make him still look like the hero, and they're trying to make Alex look like an unhinged psychopath. So that's what they're saying. They're like, well, this kid walked in and he helped law enforcement out there in these streets. Alex Pretti was an absolute unhinged lunatic. I'm like, wait a second. Excuse me, what? He was an unhinged lunatic because he was filming? Because he didn't like what was going on? Some people would say that Kyle Rittenhouse was an unhinged lunatic as well. He was the one running around with an AR-15, braca all over the place. Here's the difference between Kyle Rittenhouse. At least one thing is for sure. Yes, they both had weapons at these protests. Both of them did, right? But one of them didn't fire their weapon. One of them did not brandish their weapon. Guess who that is? Guess who that is? I mean, I don't need to answer that question for you. Y'all know. Y'all know. But at the end of the day, it is really messed up that you got people out here trying to change the story, trying to change the narrative so that it stays in the, he shouldn't have, like, as soon as they hear the talking points coming from Kristi Noem, Bovino, comments from the peanut gallery like Stephen Miller and Trump themselves, they instantly say, oh yeah, you shouldn't have been impeding. He shouldn't have been impeding. Right? Well, here's the thing with Kyle Rittenhouse. Doesn't matter if you agree with what Kyle Rittenhouse did or not. Here's another fact. No one asked him to do what he did. He just showed up with the AR-15. You see what I'm saying? 5-0 did not come up to him and be like, hey, we'd like you to come over, cross state lines with your AR-15 and show up and show out for us. No. No one asked him to do that. He showed up with his weapon and he pulled that doggone trigger. Alex, what did he do? He had a phone. He had his weapon on him, sure, but it was concealed. He wasn't brandishing. See, the mess ups start when you have the narrative being put out here that he was brandishing a weapon. When the lies are being put out instantly. That's where they screwed the pooch. They didn't do their due diligence. They didn't check out the information. What did they do first? They instantly said, ICE is in the right, Alex Pretti was in the wrong. Because he brandished a weapon, and he did not. Okay? He did not. Now, here's one of the things. Here's one of the posts, real quick. Actually, hold on. Let me just check this real quick. They should be coming out here very, very soon for this presser. In fact, I might stop right there and wait to go into what Trump said in a Truth Social post. But he's starting to walk that back, though. What he initially put up, I'll show it to you first. I'll just show it to you for a second. And you know, he's basically saying this was the gunman's gun loaded with two additional full magazines and ready to go. What is this all about? Where are the local police? Why weren't they allowed to protect ICE officers? The mayor and the governor called them off. It is stated that many of these police were not allowed to do their job, that ICE had to protect themselves. Not an easy thing to do. Why is Ilhan Omar, why are they talking about this? Why is he talking about this in the middle of this whole thing? But that's another thing. Have $34 million in her account. And where are the tens of billions of dollars that have been stolen from the once great state of Minnesota? We are there because the massive monetary fraud and with billions of dollars missing and illegal criminals that were allowed to infiltrate the state through Democrats' open border policy. We want the money back. We want it back now. Those fraudsters who stole the money are going to jail where they belong. This is no different than a really big bank robbery. Much of what you're witnessing is a cover-up for this theft and fraud. The mayor and governor are inciting insurrection with their pompous, dangerous, and arrogant rhetoric. Instead, these sanctimonious political fools should be looking for the billions of dollars that have been stolen from the people of Minnesota and the United States of America. Let our ICE patriots do their job. 12,000 illegal alien criminals, many of them violent, have been arrested and taken out of Minnesota. If they were still there, you would see something far worse than you're witnessing today. This is what he put as a post. Real talk. That's what he put up as one of his posts. Not hey, we're doing everything we can to look into this situation. This is a travesty. This is absolutely tragic. Yada, yada, yada. Nope. That's not at all what's coming out of his Truth Social posts. He is saying something completely different. Again, I think it's really, really reckless for him to be out here trying to justify the things that have been going on as of late in Minneapolis. Hey, at least with the Alex Pretti situation, fine. We could look and see what's been going on with the Renee Good situation, and they can move that and they can angle it any way they want. Sure, she had a car. She was behind the wheel of a car. She drove in a specific direction, towards one of the officers. Sure, you can argue that. There is some very gray areas there that you can argue, and they can sit there and say she was a domestic terrorist. Sure, I can see it to a certain extent, right? I don't think that woman should have lost her life. All right. But I do see how some people will look at that situation and go, that wasn't a great situation. Bad choices on both sides of the fence. But this situation He had a phone in his hand, and they blatantly said, without even looking at the video, it feels like they didn't even look at the video. They just took what ICE told them, what Border Patrol agents told them. They just took it at face value and said, well, what happened was that, he was brandishing a weapon, when it wasn't the truth at all. You see what I'm saying? When you start with misinformation, when you start with, I got to be a little bit more candid, a little bit more based. When you straight up start with a lie, you're screwed. You are already losing in a uphill battle. Okay? You're already losing. Anakin, you're fighting uphill. You'll never win, right? It's kind of like that. They're already fighting a very, very, very tough battle on mother-loving Hamburger Hill. Okay? You start with that, it's going to end tragically. You start tragic, you're going to end tragic. So what's going on now? There's now information saying that Trump is very displeased, very upset with Kristi Noem. Why? Why could he still be upset with Kristi Noem? Let me ask you guys that. Why would he be mad at Kristi Noem? You want to know why? Because he's losing his base. Even Fox News is turning on him right now. Fox News, of all places, guys. The Fox News, okay? They're even turning on Trump. They're even turning on this narrative, which for a fact, Trump is Fox and Fox is Trump and Trump is Fox and Fox is Trump. You see what I'm saying? They're even sitting here saying, no, the narrative doesn't work because they have brain cells working in their brains. Okay, more than just a little bee just bouncing against the walls inside their cranium. They're actually using their brain matter this time. They're using brain waves. Unbelievable. There's sparks going off in their brains now. They're like, wait a second. Well, what we see here doesn't actually compute with what ICE and Border Patrol is saying. So, that and that aren't the same. Kristi Noem is saying something that didn't happen in the video. What could that mean? They're actually using the brains now, which, hey. That's how you drive, Fox. That's how you drive, Fox News. Okay? That's how you drive. But here's the thing, though. Trump's seeing that, too. So what do you think? He's walking it back now. He's doing that little waddle backwards, okay? And he's still doing this like he's got 2 shake wakes in his hands, okay? But he's sitting there going, no. This is all looking bad. I'm losing the people. And he's all about love. And if he doesn't get that love from his general base, he starts to freak the F out. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. That's what we're seeing right now. At first, he sided with what was going on, right? He's sitting there going, these are this monster, blah, 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 yada, 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 right? And now, because the general public's going, oh, no, sir, no. What you saw over here is different from what we saw. Sorry. And a lot of people are out here going, boo, and that's not good. So, of course, he is trying to do everything he can to try to walk this back. Try to change the narrative a little bit. So it's going to be really exciting this time to see Caroline say what she got to say. Because I have a feeling she's going to be full of schnish. I feel like she's still going to, well, let's find out. Is she going to be on the side of Kristi Noem? Is she going to repeat what they've been saying to us out here in these streets? Nothing but bold-faced, fat-ass lies? Or is she going to go and side on the side of, hey, We're still doing the investigation. As soon as we get the investigation, we'll be back to you about that investigation. Investigators are investigating on the investigation. And when they get done investigating that investigation, we'll let you know what happens with that investigation. I have a feeling they're going to say that, something like that. Give it time, though. Here she is, Miss Caroline. Let's see what she got to say, y'all. This is going to be interesting.
Thanks for coming in on a snow day for the rest of the government in the country. And as much of the country feels the impacts of that winter storm, President Trump continues to monitor the situation closely, and he has remained in constant contact with FEMA and emergency responders. President Trump also quickly approved 12 federal emergency disaster declarations within 24 hours for the states of Arkansas, Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, and West Virginia, enabling these states to access critical federal resources to supplement their response efforts if needed. These declarations will help state-led efforts of turning power back on, clearing roads for emergency services, and keeping communities safe. The White House will continue to correspond directly with governors and local officials in the coming days, especially in those states that were harshly impacted by this storm. I would also like to address the chaotic scenes in Minnesota over the weekend. Nobody in the White House, including President Trump, wants to see people getting hurt or killed in America's streets. This includes Renee Good, Alex Pretti, the brave men and women of federal law enforcement, and the many Americans who have been victimized at the hands of illegal alien criminals.
What?
Saturday's shooting remains under active investigation by Homeland Security Investigations and the FBI.
Okay.
And Customs and Border Protection is also conducting their own internal review. As President Trump said yesterday, the administration is reviewing everything with respect to the shooting, and we will let that investigation play out.
Oh, my God.
But let's be clear about the circumstances which led to that moment on Saturday. This tragedy occurred as a result of a deliberate and hostile resistance by Democrat leaders in Minnesota. For weeks, Governor Walz and the Mayor Jacob Fry and other elected Democrats were spreading lies about federal law enforcement officers who are risking their lives daily to remove the worst criminal illegal aliens from our streets: murderers, rapists, pedophiles, human traffickers, and gang members. Governor Walz and Mayor Fry have shamefully blocked local and state police from cooperating with ICE, actively inhibiting efforts to arrest violent criminals. They have also used their platforms to encourage left-wing agitators to stalk, record, confront, and obstruct federal officers who are just trying to lawfully perform their duties, which has created dangerous situations threatening both these officers and the general public and Minnesotans alike. This is precisely what unfolded in Minneapolis on Saturday morning. Obstructing federal law enforcement and inciting violence against officers is wrong and illegal. This used to be a universally accepted position in the United States. Amid the hysteria, we must remember how we got here to this moment today and what this Democrat opposition is about. Former President Joe Biden and the Democrats opened America's borders for 4 years, inviting tens of millions of illegal aliens from all over the world to flood into our country. Among them, violent criminals who terrorized American communities and have inflicted devastating, permanent pain and harm on law-abiding Americans and their families. Yet we never saw outrage from Democrats or their allies in the liberal media over these horrifying crimes against U.S. citizens. The pain of American angel families was ignored and dismissed because it undermined the Democrat narrative. Innocent Americans like Jocelyn Nungray, Laken Riley, and Rachel Morin are just a few of the many victims savagely murdered by illegal alien criminals. Earlier this month, an illegal alien from Mexico with a long criminal history who came into our country under Joe Biden's administration threw a baseball-sized stone at a school bus carrying children in New Jersey and fractured the skull of an 8-year-old innocent child. President Trump promised accountability to these American families by securing the border, deporting every illegal alien who has committed crimes, especially and most importantly, violent crimes. Nearly 80 million Americans voted for him to deliver on that very promise, and he is. As the duly elected president, the president is fulfilling the will of the people by arresting and removing these threats from our country in cities from Los Angeles to New York and, yes, Minneapolis. Yet Democrat leaders in Minnesota with sanctuary city policies have actively defied federal immigration law and the will of the people. And as a result of that defiance, 2 Minnesotans have now tragically lost their lives on the streets of Tim Walz's state. It is President Trump's hope and wish and demand for the resistance and chaos to end today. That's why President Trump spoke with Governor Walz directly this morning, and he has outlined a clear and simple path to restoring law and order in Minnesota. Number one, Governor Walz, Mayor Frey, and all Democrat leaders should turn over all criminal illegal aliens currently incarcerated in their prisons and jails to federal authorities, along with any illegal aliens with active warrants or known criminal histories for immediate deportation. Number two, state and local law enforcement must agree to turn over all illegal aliens who are arrested by local police. And then thirdly, local police must assist federal law enforcement in apprehending and detaining illegal aliens who are wanted for crimes, especially violent crimes. If Governor Walz and Mayor Frey implement these common sense cooperative measures that I will add have already been implemented in nearly every single other state across the country, Customs and Border Patrol will not be needed to support ICE on the ground in Minnesota. ICE and local law enforcement can peacefully work together, as they are effectively doing in so many other states and jurisdictions. Additionally, President Trump is calling on the United States Congress to immediately pass legislation ending sanctuary cities once and for all. American cities should be safe sanctuaries for law-abiding citizens only, not for dangerous illegal alien criminals who broke our nation's laws and do not belong here. We hope Governor Walz will do the right thing and continue to work with President Trump to keep the American people safe following their call this morning. Americans overwhelmingly want exactly what President Trump is delivering: strong borders and strict immigration enforcement against the worst illegal aliens, of which there are still hundreds of thousands to deport from the interior of our country. The most peaceful way to carry out this vital public safety mission is for Republicans and Democrats to do it together, and for state and local law enforcement to work together with federal law enforcement. We want to let cops be cops. You wouldn't know this continues to be a very popular policy position from the biased media coverage over the course of the last few days, but polling shows huge support for this exact thing President Trump is calling for. More than 80% of Americans favor deporting illegal aliens convicted of violent crimes. A country unable to deport criminals who enter it illegally is no country at all. The open borders agenda of Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, and the Democrats was already on the ballot on November 5th, 2024, and it was resoundingly rejected. President Trump will never back down from his promise to deport violent criminal illegal aliens and make America safe again, and he welcomes all cooperation in that effort. With that, I will answer your questions. And Jordan Conradson, why don't you kick us off today? Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Caroline.
Interesting.
I have a few questions. First, with respect to the shooting in Minneapolis, we're seeing massive outrage from mainstream media and the left, but I'm just wondering, where was that outrage when Ashley Babbitt, an Air Force veteran, was executed by Capitol Police Officer Michael Byrd, who she posed no threat to in the U.S. Capitol?
Well, you raised a very important point, which I also believe that I just raised as well in those opening remarks, in that there has no doubt been selective outrage by the liberal biased media in picking and choosing victims and highlighting their stories. And as I've said, President Trump does not want any Americans to lose their lives in the streets of America and in American communities across the country. He believes what happened on Saturday is a tragedy, but every life is equal to President Trump. And that's why the lives of Laken Riley and Jocelyn Nungray continue to matter to him and be an utmost priority to him.
How about say the guy's man? Say the man's name.
It's unfortunate that we did not see the same type of sensationalist media coverage over the tragic deaths of those innocent American women and girls across the country.
This is such BS.
As we are in the wake of this tragedy that took place on Saturday.
She is so wrong on that.
Sure, go ahead, Jordan.
I want to get your response to this. The Arizona Attorney General, just days before this shooting in Minneapolis, she seemingly encouraged rioters to go out, shoot, and kill ICE agents. And I'll quote her here. She said, "If you reasonably believe your life's in danger and you're in the house or in your car or on your property, you can defend yourself with lethal force." And she said that you can't tell if ICE agents are law enforcement or imposters, and it becomes an issue of whether you reasonably believe they were law enforcement. Do you have a response to that? And does the White House believe that she should be held accountable for these remarks?
Such dangerous rhetoric, as I pointed out, is exactly what has brought us to this position today, where you have elected Democrat officials across the country who are encouraging left-wing agitators and crazy people to go out and unlawfully obstruct lawful immigration enforcement. Again, these brave men and women of ICE and Border Patrol and the federal enforcement are just trying to do their jobs to enforce our nation's immigration laws and to go after the worst of the worst in this country. I would encourage everyone in this room, and I would encourage the Arizona Attorney General to look at the video of an ICE agent in Minneapolis. He was approached by left-wing agitators who were honking their horns and were screaming slurs at him. And he rolled down his window and he said, "What are you doing? I am out here trying to catch a child predator, somebody who has convicted crimes against an innocent child, and you are trying to obstruct me from doing my job." This rhetoric against ICE, comparing them to Nazi, Gestapo, Donald Trump's police force, is despicable, it is shameful, and it is precisely what has led to the escalation of tensions in Minneapolis and in other places across the country.
Yikes.
Gabe, go ahead.
For justifying violence.
I would defer you to the Department of Justice on that.
Thank you, Caroline. Regarding Minnesota, on Saturday, the Department of Homeland Security posted that Pretti looks like he wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement. Stephen Miller on Saturday posted that, or called Pretti a would-be assassin. Why did administration officials jump to conclusions before an investigation had even been conducted?
How's she going to spin this one?
This has obviously been a very fluid and fast-moving situation throughout the weekend. As
Shut up.
President Trump, whom I speak for, he has said that he wants to let the investigation continue and let the facts lead in this case.
With regards to the deployment of Tom Homan to Minneapolis, should the deployment of Mr. Homan to Minneapolis be seen as a sign that the president is dissatisfied with how the officials on the ground had handled the incident?
No, Mr. Homan is doing an exceptional job, and he has been working with Secretary Noem and President Trump over the course of the last year. Secretary Noem still has the utmost confidence and trust of the President of the United States, and she's continuing to oversee the entire Department of Homeland Security and all of the immigration enforcement that's taking place across the whole entire country. Of course, Secretary Noem is also in charge of FEMA, and we are in the wake of a brutal winter storm where hundreds of thousands of Americans have been impacted by that. So Border Czar Homan is in a unique position to drop everything and go to Minnesota to continue having these productive conversations with state and local officials. And I know that he's catching a plane in just a few hours to do just that at the request of the president. Jennifer.
On Saturday's shooting, has the president been briefed, and have you been briefed on specific details of the shooting? How many shots were fired? How many guns discharged? And I mean, did the protesters' gun go off, or only the officers' guns? Do you have any of those details?
Again, the investigation is continuing, Jennifer, and we will let the facts lead and we will let the facts play out in this investigation. I do know that HSI and FBI are conducting interviews with those that were involved and the agents who were involved in this unfortunate tragedy on Saturday.
Are they keeping the president up to date on all those details?
The president is obviously very much on the ball with respect to this investigation. I think he's made that quite clear with the various statements that you've seen him put out, and also the 4 points that the president has outlined as well to Governor Walz, and to encourage him to cooperate with ICE and with the administration. Mary.
Thanks, Caroline. To follow on Gabe's question, Secretary Noem said Alex Pretti committed an act of domestic terrorism. Stephen Miller labeled Pretti a domestic terrorist. Does the president agree with them?
Look, as I've said, I have not heard the president characterize Mr. Pretti in that way. However, I have heard the president say he wants to let the facts and the investigation lead itself.
Was he alarmed to hear his top officials referring to him in that way, rushing to that judgment?
Danny, go ahead.
Thanks, Caroline. On Stephen Miller's comments, will Stephen Miller be apologising to the family of Alex Pretti for calling him, quotes, an assassin who tried to murder federal agents, despite the fact that as you say, this is still under investigation?
Look, again, this incident remains under investigation, and nobody here at the White House, including the President of the United States, wants to see Americans hurt or killed and losing their lives in American streets. And we mourn for the parents. As a mother myself, of course, I cannot imagine the loss of life, especially losing one's child. And that same empathy from the President goes for the parents of angel families, parents of victims of illegal alien crime across our country as well. And that's exactly why the President continues to be wholeheartedly committed to deporting the worst of the worst criminals from our country.
She's going to step down
why don't we go to
soon.
the back?
I have a
Kelly.
feeling.
Does the president
It's gonna be because of the
believe
baby.
that the killing though was
Wait
a
for it.
mistake? Has he expressed that at all?
Again, the President has said, we have to review it, and this investigation needs to continue, and he's letting the facts in the investigation lead itself.
Body camera footage to be released to the public?
There's no body cam.
That's not something I've heard the President commit to, so I won't do that from the podium.
Guaranteed there's no body cam babies.
Carrie, how serious is the administration taking allegations that local and state officials in Minnesota are actively coordinating with demonstrators through encrypted or non-encrypted communications, as well as providing government resources to impede immigration enforcement operations?
I'm sorry, Carrie, could you repeat your question?
How serious is the administration taking allegations that local and state Minnesota officials are communicating with demonstrators to basically impede immigration officials?
Well, we've definitely seen active organization amongst these left-wing groups, Carrie, and it is something that I know the FBI and the Department of Justice are looking into. Again, it is illegal to unlawfully obstruct lawful immigration enforcement in this country. And these agitators are making it nearly impossible for ICE to do their jobs and for federal law enforcement to carry out the will of the American people to deport the worst of the worst. I would just encourage everyone to please imagine in this room, all of you come to the White House every day to report on the President of the United States and the administration. You come into this briefing room, you walk through the gates of the White House. Just imagine if there were left-wing agitators or agitators of any kind who were in your face, who were doxing you, who were harassing you, who were physically threatening you, who were biting off your fingers in the case of two Border Patrol agents we saw this past weekend in Minneapolis. That would make it very difficult for you to show up and do your job here at the White House every single day. That's what these officers in Minneapolis are facing. That's why the President is calling on Governor Walson Mayor Frey for these three very simple and common sense points of cooperation so that ICE and local law enforcement can work together. Again, we are just asking for police to be police. And if you ask any law enforcement agent or official, they want to be able to work with their federal counterparts at the state and local level and vice versa.
Caroline. Thanks a lot, Caroline. Two questions. One is looking forward. The role of Mr. Homan, is he being sent by the president to diffuse the situation that exists right now on the ground? Is he the point person essentially for the White House in terms of trying to tamp down the tensions that exist right now in Minnesota?
Well, Mr. Homan is the point person for cooperating with state and local authorities and corresponding with them, again, to achieve this level of cooperation to subdue the chaos on the streets of Minneapolis. And I would just point out that Mr. Homan is someone who has been lauded for many, many decades for his experience working in law enforcement. In fact, this is a Washington Post headline from 9 years ago, 2016. Meet the man the White House has honored for deporting illegal immigrants. And I would remind everyone in this room that it was former President Barack Hussein Obama who awarded a medal to Mr. Homan. So he's obviously very qualified. He has the full trust and faith of the president. He will continue to have these meetings in the hopes that ICE and local law enforcement can cooperate and work together to have successful immigration enforcement, as we've seen in almost every other state across the country.
And secondly, Caroline, can you talk a little bit about tomorrow's trip by the president to Iowa, what the purpose of that trip is, what the goals of that trip are?
Sure, yes. Tomorrow, President Trump will be traveling to Des Moines, Iowa.
Oh, an easy question.
Making a local visit at a local business, and then he will be giving a speech on affordability and on the economy. And I know he very much looks forward to being there, to meeting with the great people of Iowa, but also lawmakers as well. Jake.
Caroline, a couple quick questions. First, does the president remain fully confident in Kristi Noem's ability to lead the DHS?
Yes.
And then
Good question.
Secondly, just on that Wall Street Journal reporting that we saw yesterday, the president said at some point that the immigration enforcement officers would leave Minneapolis. Did the Saturday killing of Alex Pretti expedite that withdrawal at all?
To your first question, the answer is yes. He still has confidence and trust in Secretary Noem. To the second question, I would point you back to what I said earlier. If Governor Walz and Mayor Frey implement these common sense cooperative measures, CBP will no longer be needed to support ICE on the ground in Minnesota. ICE and local law enforcement will peacefully work together, as they are effectively doing in so many other states and jurisdictions, to remove violent criminals from American neighborhoods across the country.
Did Walz ask the president to remove the immigration enforcement officers?
He asked the president to scale down, and the president reiterated what the president put out in his statement yesterday and what I'm sharing with all of you as well. I would just add, on this level of cooperation, a few statistics that I think I've seen. Cities in the United States cooperate with ICE. And we've seen historic turnaround in safety in cities that have chosen to cooperate with ICE, that are not just led by Republicans, but also look right here in Washington, D.C. We had a great level of cooperation with Mayor Bowser and the local government, and we have been able to remove thousands of illegal aliens from the District of Columbia, where you all live, so you can thank President Trump for that. The murder rate in Washington, D.C. has plummeted as a result. There were no riots, there were no protests, nobody was tragically killed as a result of that level of cooperation.
That was weird.
Federal and local authorities. And again, that's all the president is asking for in Minnesota. It's totally common sense. Jared, go ahead.
Thank you. Caroline, in this process, you continue to describe the situation in Minneapolis as chaos. Was there any mistake made by Secretary Noem that led the president to send Mr. Holman there?
I'm sorry, I don't understand your question. Did Secretary Noem make a mistake which led to?
She made any mistake that could lead the president to send Mr. Holman to Minneapolis?
No, as I already mentioned, Mr. Holman has been working alongside Secretary Noem and for the president over the course of last year. And again, he's uniquely positioned to hop on a flight to Minnesota today to continue this correspondence with state and local authorities, and that's what he's going to be doing. Fran.
Caroline, is it the White House's position that Americans have the right to show up to these ICE operations and film, document, or protest the law enforcement actions?
All Americans have a First Amendment constitutional right, of course, but Americans do not have a constitutional right to impede and obstruct lawful immigration enforcement operations. That is actually a crime, and it's something that we've seen taking place in the streets of Minneapolis, which again is leading to these dangerous circumstances that these federal law enforcement officers have been forced to work within.
Back to the call with Governor Walz this morning, the president described it as respectful. He said, we seem to be on a similar wavelength, but you had strong criticism for the governor and the Minneapolis mayor, Jacob Frey, just now. So could you explain the difference in tone between what the president had said in his True Social post and I think some of the criticisms that you just levied from the podium?
Fran, I think the criticisms that I laid out, I'm painting the picture for all of you in this room, are what led to the moment that we are in today, where Governor Walz and President Trump are having a conversation, a constructive and productive conversation to end the chaos and the lawlessness that has taken place in Governor Walz's state. Elena.
Thank you. I had a question. With Holman now going to Minnesota, is Gregory Bovino also going to remain in Minnesota overseeing these ICE operations?
Mr. Bovino is a wonderful man, and he's a great professional. He is going to very much continue to lead Customs and Border Patrol throughout and across the country. Mr. Holman will be the main point of contact on the ground in Minneapolis.
And to follow up, given what we've heard from several Trump administration officials, people like Stephen Miller, as people point out, calling him a domestic terrorist, but saying that Pretti was out to massacre law enforcement. Why not require ICE agents to wear body cameras?
Thank you. Ask the damn question.
That we are hearing from witnesses and video footage versus what the administration.
Thank you.
That's a policy question that I know the
Dear
policy
God.
folks in the building are having with members on Capitol Hill, and I'll leave it to them and the president to make that decision.
And I just have a final question is on, you were talking about the level of cooperation that the president talked about with Governor Walz. Will the administration commit to cooperating with local officials on this investigation into Alex Pretti?
The president spoke about this with Governor Walz and said he would have a discussion about it. He did not make a commitment, and so therefore I won't make that commitment here. I would just remind all of you in the media, because I've seen a lack of reporting on this fact. There are investigations into what took place on Saturday. The Homeland Security investigations and the FBI have teamed up for an investigation, and there's also an internal CBP investigation, an internal review of what is happening on the ground in Minnesota. The president supports those investigations, and as I've said repeatedly, he wants to see them move forward. Phil.
FBI Director Patel said in a Sunday interview, quote, "You cannot bring a firearm loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest." Does the president believe the Second Amendment rights remain in effect even when protesting?
The president supports the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding American citizens. Absolutely. There has been no greater supporter or defender of the right to bear arms than President Donald J. Trump. So while Americans have a constitutional right to bear arms, Americans do not have a constitutional right to impede lawful immigration enforcement operations. And any gun owner knows that when you are carrying a weapon, when you are bearing arms and you are confronted by law enforcement, you are raising the assumption of risk and the risk of force being used against you. And again, that's unfortunately what took place on Saturday.
Will his mission continue to be focusing on illegal immigrants with a criminal history, or will it be on illegal immigration generally?
Mr. Holman will continue to enforce our nation's immigration laws, especially deporting the worst of the worst criminals in Minnesota who have committed violent offenses. And I would just remind all of you that this important work is continuing to be carried out. In just the last few days, I'm happy to provide this packet to anyone in the room. ICE has arrested multiple violent criminals, illegal aliens within Minnesota. Many of them have convictions for assault, driving under the influence, fraud. This individual here I'm looking at was an aggravated felon with multiple convictions for larceny, fraud, and forgery of checks, vehicle theft, drug possession, domestic assault, inflicting bodily harm on another, criminal convictions of larceny, identity theft, again, charged with driving under the influence. These are extremely dangerous people who Governor Walz and Mayor Frey have allowed to roam on their streets. And all the president is asking for is cooperation to arrest individuals like this and deport them from the United States of America. I'll take a couple more. Go ahead.
Okay, so this weekend the president posted that this is a cover-up of the fraud in the state of Minnesota. He also posted Minnesota is a cover-up. These both happened after the shooting. So given that these came after the shooting, what is the this here? What is the cover-up he's alleging?
Yes, it's a good question. I spoke with the president about this at length. What the president is referring to is the fact that you have Governor Walz and again the mayor who have been encouraging these left-wing agitators to come out and to harass and to dox and to threaten ICE and to make this conversation about and smear lies about federal law enforcement who again are just trying to do their jobs in an attempt to distract from the widespread massive fraud that has taken place in their state. Billions and billions of dollars has been stolen from law-abiding taxpayers in Minnesota, and the administration continues to be very focused on getting to the bottom of it, and especially, and the president raised a good question over the weekend with respect to Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who now has a net worth within the millions, and one must ask themselves, why and how is that possible? Is she connected to the fraud rings that we have seen taking place within her state and her own district? It's a question the American people are raising, and the president believes it's one worth answering. Haley.
Thanks, Caroline. I want to go back to some of the comments from Stephen Miller and Secretary No. You've made clear the president wants to see the investigation play out. When answering some of the questions on the specific details, is he concerned that some of those definitive statements made by other officials risks public perception of the credibility of those investigations now playing out?
Again, the president believes that these investigations are credible, they are continuing, they are active, and he wants to let them play out. Alex.
Caroline, thank you. Is the administration willing to separate DHS funding from other funding bills in order to avoid a broader shutdown?
Look, at this point, the White House supports the bipartisan work that was done to advance the bipartisan appropriations package, and we want to see that passed. Policy discussions on immigration in Minnesota are happening. Look, the president is leading those discussions, as evidenced by his correspondence with Governor Walz this morning. But that should not be at the expense of government funding for the American people, which would include, as you know, Alex, FEMA funding. And we are in the midst of the storm that took place over the weekend, and many Americans are still being impacted by that. So we absolutely do not want to see that funding lapse, and we want the Senate to move forward with passing the bipartisan appropriations package that was negotiated on a bipartisan basis.
Secondly, there's another round of Russia-Ukraine talks this weekend, Sunday. If you can walk us through with the president, how he would be involved in that, if at all. We'll be talking to President Putin, President Zelensky ahead of those meetings.
I'm not tracking any scheduled calls at this point in time. However, the president remains deeply involved, and of course, he's being apprised by his advisors, namely Jared Kushner and Special Envoy Witkoff, on these talks. They had a multilateral meeting this past weekend, which didn't get a ton of coverage, but that was historic in nature, where the president's team has really brought two sides of this war to the table together to move the ball closer towards peace. So the president is not giving up on the peace process. He obviously just met with President Zelensky when we were in Davos, Switzerland, but I'm not tracking any calls scheduled for this week. On one more foreign policy point, I will point out, as you all saw, the last remaining body of the hostages, Israeli hostages in Gaza, has been returned. This is a huge foreign policy feat for the President of the United States, for the state of Israel, and frankly, for the whole world. The president made the impossible possible. And so it's great news for the president, for the United States, for our allies, and also for peace in the Middle East. And I understand that more than 20 new additional countries have also signed up to join the newly established Board of Peace with respect to the rebuilding of Gaza, which is another historic accomplishment for this president. So thank you all very much, and we'll see you in Iowa tomorrow.
So there's that happened. I gotta be real. This woman hates her job. I truly think that she's miserable. I just think that. I could be wrong. Okay. But every time she's up here, because every time she's up here, she's not up there talking about any good news. You realize that, right? Have you noticed as of late, anytime that Caroline goes up there and speaks, there's always something else going on. Like she tries to cover it up with something else. So be like, oh yeah, President Trump was busy going over here and playing golf, and he had a wonderful time. If thank you so much for asking. It was a wonderful experience for him, and he loved flying in the Air Force One the other day, going across the seas and seeing things in other countries, right? And then she goes into questions, and it's all about like the tragic thing that has happened recently that he is either covering up or saying something against, or you see what I'm saying? It'll be like, oh shoot, he was over there and he had Swiss chocolates for the very first time. He's never had Swiss chocolates. Mr. President enjoyed it so much, he brought back more, even for the rest of the staff. It was fantastic. I'll take questions. And they'll be like, okay, so what about the Epstein files? And she's just like, the Epstein files we're working on those things and blah, blah, blah. Next question. Every question, she is literally taking a deep breath and going, here we go. You know what I mean? Have you not noticed that? Am I the only one who sees that? She hates her job. There is no joy in this job. There is none. No joy in this job. No joy in this job. Am I the only one who's seen that? And then I feel like she's gonna be stepping down soon. And what's she gonna be stepping down, or taking hiatus? And I already, she's obviously with child, right? Understandably, she's gonna be taking a break because of being with child. But I don't think that this stress is gonna be good on this child. She got a bun in the oven. That baby needs to bake. She needs to not be in this stress. I'm just telling you right now, she's going to be stepping down sooner than just like the last few months before she about to give birth. You see what I'm saying? or the last few weeks before or whatever, however maternity leave works. I just think that this is way too much stress for her body, especially raising, birthing a child, right? Bringing a child to full term. I just don't see it. She is just, I don't, you know what I'm saying? She looks tired, you know? I'm with child. I don't know. Like, but all those things, okay? All that you heard here, what say you guys? You know, do you believe the hype? Do you believe the information that she's saying? Because clearly, to me, it sounds like Trump is trying to walk it back. Remember that time when Trump was sitting there saying that the Epstein files was a Democratic hoax, right? It was a Democrat hoax, one big fat ass fugazi. It was all one big lie. And then he was like really trying everything he could to block the files from coming out. And then out of nowhere, because the House voted against it, voted for the Epstein files to be released. The Senate even voted for it to be released. He sent out a tweet being like, well, I'm glad it's finally coming out. Finally, everyone will get the truth. Remember that BS? Remember how he pivoted? He shifted real quick. At first, he's like, oh, you guys are all, going after this Democrat hoax. It's all a big hoax. No reason you guys should be focusing on the fact that I stopped 8 wars. And the economy is better than it's ever been before. And we are the hottest state, hottest country ever, right? And then as soon as they voted to release the files, he's like, good, I'm glad you guys are finally, I've been waiting for the moment when you guys are going to release the files. It's about damn time. Let's release the files, right? Remember that? Because he can't stand not getting, 1, having the control, and 2, having the love. And right now, with what happened here, he is doing everything he can to try to walk it back so he looks like the good guy. Because his whole administration, the other people that he's hired on, these are people that he picked to run these departments. They're all coming out and shooting from the hip without even thinking, without even doing their due diligence, calling Alex Pretti and what happened to Alex Pretti something that never did actually happen. Full on lying to the American people. And the American people are reacting. Countless videos am I seeing on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube of people basically saying, like, if you think that Alex Pretti was in the wrong in this situation, then F you, right? Then you are part of the problem. There's a lot of people that are saying that. Even people on the right that are hardcore saying Trump could do no wrong. MAGA for life, MAGA till I die. Even those people are sitting there going, this is bad. This is not a good one. They screwed the pooch on this one, right? As soon as he's seeing the general consensus, he's seeing how the world is reacting to the situation, and what is he doing? He's backtracking. Now he's like, he cares about, she said it herself, he cares about all Americans. He cares about them all. It's tragic what happened to Renee Good. It's tragic what happened to Alex Pretti. But remember what he called Renee Good? Remember what he called her? A professional agitator. Oh, and let's not forget, a domestic terrorist. That's what he called her. So then his minions, all of his goons, all the people that are like the yes people, suddenly took those same words, that same title, and put it on top of Alex Pretti without even looking at the footage. Come on now. But the rest of the world, even Fox News, guys, even CBS has seen the footage, and they're all like, well, it seems like what Kristi Noem and the Department of Homeland Security is saying is contradicting what is being seen in these videos. It's their very diplomatic way of saying they're lying to us. But they don't want to say it like that because they don't want to, they don't want to get in trouble with Trump. He'll sue the pants off of people. Right? You don't think that this is one big sidestep or a big backstep? Now he cares about Americans and the people, all Americans. Now he cares about all Americans. Before, nah, these are all professional agitators and domestic terrorists. All of them, all those protesters that are out there, they're domestic terrorists. But now they're Americans too now. Yeah. This is the world we live in. Oh, you know what I'm saying? This is America. I could quote all these songs, okay? Born in the USA. You know what I'm saying? All of them. All of them. This is no bueno. Welcome to our world, y'all. Welcome to our world. Now, we just heard that allegedly Trump and Tim Walz had a very good call. Apparently, they had a very good call this morning. And of course, Trump had a few demands, right? Which I'll probably play that back here in just a second from Caroline herself so we can hear from the horse's mouth. All right. But here it is. Trump agrees to pull ICE agents out of Minnesota and allow cops to investigate what happened here, what happened to Alex Pretti. So he's agreed to pull the ICE agents out of Minnesota and allow local cops to investigate the protesters' unaliving by federal agents. The president held a phone call with the state governor today, this morning, following the demise of Alex Pretti, an ICU nurse who was, of course, we already know what happened to him. Walz's office says the president agreed that he would talk to his Department of Homeland Security about ensuring the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension is able to conduct an independent investigation, as would ordinarily be the case. The fact that the governor has to ask, hey, Trumpy, can we please have this state department do an independent investigation in the demise of Alex Pretti? Can we please have that? The fact that you are doing that, the fact that you have to ask for that is a huge problem. That is a massively huge problem, if you ask me, because that shows to me that they were ready to start covering this up and blocking this from being investigated as well. This is the same thing that happened with Renee Nicole Good. Doesn't matter if you think that she took that car and used that as a WMD, okay, or not. They did the same thing to Renee Good, which is not right. That state department should have been able to do their own independent investigation on Renee Nicole Good. That's just how it's done. And that was being blocked as well. The fact that he has to ask to be able to do this is insane. The president also agreed to look into reducing the number of federal agents in Minnesota and working with state in a more coordinated fashion on immigration enforcement regarding violent criminals. So Trump's call with Walz comes after the president last night blamed Pretty's death on Democrat-ensued chaos. He has accused Walz of standing by while violent mobs attack ICE agents and threaten to deploy troops under the Insurrection Act. But the president has previously expressed concerns about Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, reports say. So he's very upset, apparently, with Kristi Noem. And I would be too, because here's the thing. He hired her to do this job. And they lied to the world in real time. No, they didn't use some flowery words or, use some verbal gymnastics to dance around the particular bush that they're talking about and all that, to dance around the subject matter. No, they straight up lied because the American people, the general public, has seen the footage. And no, this wasn't in the middle of the night. You can't sit there and say that it was too smoky or dark outside to be able to, differentiate between a cell phone and a gun. You cannot deny that what happened here and what they did was wrong and very sloppy. I'm sending Tom Homan to Minnesota tonight. He has not been involved in that area, but knows and likes many of the people there. So this is what Trump wrote in a Truth Social. Okay, Tom is fair, tough but fair, and will report directly to me. This is also apparently a guy who's a rival. Just so you know, Tom Homan is apparently a rival of Trump's. So it's interesting that he's being sent out by Trump to do this. Yeah. Now, I might have to roll back to that video, the start of it, to hear her, because they had 3 demands. Remember, they had 3 demands that they wanted to have be done by Tim Walz before they actually remove ICE from there. Let's take a listen. I need to find it, so just grant me some grace here.
Aliens from all over the world to flood into our country, inflicted devastating, permanent pain and harm on law-abiding Americans and their families. Yet we never saw crimes against dismissed because it undermined the Democrat narrative. Innocent American victims, alien from Mexico with a law threw a baseball-sized stone at a school bus child, curing the and most importantly, violent crimes. Nearly 80 million Americans voted for him to deliver on that very promise, and he is. As the duly elected president, the president is fulfilling the will of the people by arresting and removing these threats from our country in cities from Los Angeles, restoring law and order in Minnesota. Number 1, Governor Walz, Mayor Fry, and all Democrat leaders should turn over all criminal illegal aliens currently incarcerated in their prisons and jails to federal authorities.
So number 1, the ones that are locked up right now need to be, all the illegals that are locked up in prison right now need to be released to the president. Okay. I mean, I feel like that one seems to be fair, right? That makes sense. If they're bad guys and they're illegally here and they're really, really bad, I guess so, right? They're already detained. They're already locked up, right? Okay, let's move on.
Along with any illegal aliens with active warrants or known criminal histories for immediate deportation.
Okay, so first part was okay. Second part is he's saying any person that's out there that has warrants or is a violent illegal immigrant needs to be exposed. Their information, their whereabouts, they're getting doxxed basically by the mayor and the governor need to be handed over to Trump, to DHS, so that they can swoop in and get these mother lovers. Interesting, right? That's like 1A and 1B.
Number 2, state and local law enforcement must agree to turn over all illegal aliens who are arrested by local police.
Okay. That is if there are any that have been arrested by police for solely being in this city or in America illegally. You know what I mean? I'm sure they have a few that have been illegally have been arrested for being for a crime, but then also finding out that they're illegal. So yeah, that's possible. Okay, let's go.
And then thirdly, local police must assist federal law enforcement in apprehending and detaining illegal aliens who are wanted for crimes, especially violent crimes.
So they're basically saying ICE needs intelligence. ICE does not have intelligence. Remember, they don't. I mean that metaphorically and literally speaking. Okay, that's kind of a joke, but kind of not, because it is true. They don't have intelligence. They need intelligence. 5-0 has that intelligence. They have that information. They could literally go, well, Javier Guzman he doesn't live there anymore. He lives here now. He lives in this, the corner of the 1500 block of such and such and such and such street, right? But ICE does not have intelligence. So they need that intel from local 5-0. So they're sitting there going, can we make this a Captain Planet? With our powers combined, we make Captain Planet. Can we do that? Right? But here's the thing. Allegra. Sorry, I was like green. Allegra. Yes. So Pam Bondi at first, just earlier this weekend, was like, we'll pull out the ICE agents and Border Patrol if you give us your voter registrations. All of them. And then, of course, what did Walz and the state respond back with? They said, oh, hell no. That's what they said. They're like, are you kidding me? We ain't going to give you not damn one thing like that. You out your mind, right? Because, you know, they want to make it seem like they're doing illegal voter fraud in the state. But that's exactly what they did. That's exactly how they responded. I mean, Pam Bondi said, give us your voter rolls and we'll bring ICE back home. How's that work? How does that work for you, Mr. Governor Walz? And he said, hell no. He's like, you got another thing coming. If you think I'm going to give you guys our voter registrations, stop. So now see how they moved, and they have now restructured their demands. Now it's well, we just want to get these illegals out of here. So all the ones that you have already detained for crimes, and they're already detained, give them over, hand them over. Another one. The ones that help us find these guys, help us go and get these guys out of here, out of America, right? Bring them to justice. And I forgot the third one, but you get what I'm saying. They're like, hey, we want you guys to help us, please. Because if we go in there and it's a more organized situation, the faster we get the hell out of there. Oh, also, then they're also asking for protection. If you really think about it, they're asking for police to be there, to be a wall between ICE agents, Border Patrol agents, and these protesters. So they want extra protection. That's what they want. Not only is it, can we please get the address of Javier Guzman? That would be very helpful, okay? But we also need you guys to be working in tandem with us so that if angry ICE, anti-ICE protesters are out there, you guys can be the shield while we go in and exact the actual operation without us having to murk anybody in the meantime. How's that? Now, I'm wondering if Walz is going to take that. I'm wondering if Walz is going to take that request. I don't see it happening, but anything is possible. Trump did go to Truth Social and say that they had a very good call. And then, of course, that Trump is saying that, you know, that Walz wants to
President Trump says
wants to work with, you know, that Walz wants to work with him. So we'll see what comes of that. But those demands, will it be enough? Will it be something that, will there be a happy medium? That's the question I think a lot of us want to know. Let's take a look at this, guys.
President Trump says Minnesota Governor Tim Walz called him asking to work together to find a solution to ICE operations and the chaos in Minnesota. Senior White House correspondent Selena Wang is here for more on that. So, Selena, what do we know about this conversation?
Yeah, Diane, well, it looks like President Trump may be looking for an off-ramp here. I mean, what he's saying in this social media post is a big shift in tone that we've seen coming from the president and his administration over the last few days. President Trump saying that Governor Walz, quote, called me with a request to work together with respect to Minnesota. He called it a very good call. And he said, quote, actually, we seem to be on a similar wavelength. He also said that Governor Walz is happy that his border czar, Tom Homan, will be coming to Minnesota. Now, remember that throughout the weekend, President Trump and his team have been making a series of unsubstantiated claims, blaming local officials, including Governor Walz, for the deadly shooting, and also claiming without evidence that Alex Pretti, the ICU nurse who was shot and killed, was a domestic terrorist trying to inflict maximum damage. But we know, Diane, that the president, as well as his chief of staff, they've been fielding a lot of calls about what happened in Minnesota, including with local officials. And the president gave a significant interview with the Wall Street Journal yesterday where he appeared to be looking for a climb down. He signaled a willingness to eventually withdraw immigration enforcement from the Minnesota area. He said, quote, at some point, we will leave.
Meanwhile, the White House is signaling confidence in Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem amid growing calls for her to resign. What are you watching for there, Selena?
I mean, look, it is significant that they're choosing to send border czar Tom Homan to Minnesota because the immigration enforcement operation in Minnesota that has been under scrutiny, that has really been mostly the responsibility of Kristi Noem, who runs the Department of Homeland Security. So that is significant there. So we'll be watching for any potential tension between these two leaders. But look, the president also knows that there are a growing number of Republicans who have been disturbed by the administration's jump to conclusions. There's also a growing number of Republicans who are also calling for an independent investigation. Governor Walz made it very clear that the federal government cannot be trusted to handle it. Walz saying the state will do it.
That's how it should be. Remember, that's how the investigation should be. Usually the state does the investigation, not the DHS or FBI. The state actually does the investigation. So the fact that they blocked, for example, the likes of the apprehension department, Minnesota Criminal Apprehension Department, from actually being able to do the investigation into Renee Nicole Good, obviously it's obvious that is a huge problem. And it's obvious that they were going to do that again. Now, that is a request from Tim Walz. The question is Trump going to fully agree on doing that? Because here's the thing. At the end of the day, this could also expose how bad his team is, which we already know his team is bad. Come on now. If you think his team is just good old fashioned, corn-fed American American men and women, you got another thing coming. They're all slimy from what I've seen. I've ripped the Band-Aid off at this point. They're all slimy as hell. And when they do something right, I will give them the absolute praise and love that they deserve. But this situation is not how you do it. It's not. This is not how you do it. So clearly, to me, Trump's team has a lot of explaining to do, and he's trying his best. If you notice, like I said, trying to distance himself from this situation as quickly and as best as he can. Let me show you guys this video. I wanted to share this with y'all too. Now, there's a lot of things here that I'm still kind of confused about. I'm still trying to understand as well. So I got a lot of questiones here because a woman, I guess a female, looks like a female protester, got her hand like boomed. I don't know what's really going on here. Some people are saying that she grabbed like a flashbang, like she grabbed it off the ground and it went off in her hand and she was freaking out. Some people were claiming that this was another shooting. This is very strange, but I want to share this with you guys nonetheless. Let's take a look.
Medic. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
So again, there's a lot of people that are thinking that that's the problem. There's some people saying that she was actually shot. And then there's other places where they're saying that she just grabbed a flashbang. Now, if she was shot, this is absolutely terrible. And it's like, again, ICE and, and BPD or Border Patrol, department, Border Patrol definitely needs to holster their weapons and stop blasting people. But here's the thing. If you picked up a flashbang, don't pick it up. That is all. So again, terrible. But like I said, we're hearing two conflicting stories right now. Some people are saying that she picked up a flashbang and it went off in her hand. Maybe she was trying to throw it back and she didn't throw it back fast enough, right? Or someone pulled out the weapon and went, brow. But again, we should know better, right? We all have common sense for the most part. You don't go and pick up a flashbang. Shoot, you don't pick up anything that it doesn't matter. As soon as it hits the ground, get out the way. Kick rocks. Go. Don't try to pick it up and try to throw back. You know what I'm saying? Or wait until it goes off. You know, like if it's because you don't know what it is. Most of the time, you don't know if it's smoke that's about to, come out of the canister, or if the thing's gonna go bang, right? So if it's gonna go, you never know. So wait for the thing to go off, and if it's still going off, smoke coming out, then you can pick it up and throw it back over in their direction. But come on now. That's if that was the case. But like I said, people are saying that she picked it up and went bow in her hands. That's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt real bad. Just so you guys know, don't be surprised if there's pain. There is something that happened last night. I just wanted to show you guys a little bit of this. Because they all, like a bunch of anti-ICE protesters, showed up last night to this hotel where allegedly ICE agents were staying at. Okay. And long story short, it got a little chaotic. More than just a little chaotic, but it got chaotic for sure. So much that you have, I think that's National Guard. If I'm correct, that's the National Guard. But take a look.
The people who are here specifically because your department is here, do you think it's worthwhile if you're going to get comment? Don't you have comment for the people of Minneapolis?
So it's an ICE agent. This is an ICE agent or Border Patrol. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I look at ICE agents as Border Patrol and Border Patrol as ICE agents. I'm sorry, guys. I know some people be like, and actually it's a Border Patrol. It's not ICE. I'm like, they're all the same to me. They're all out there. They're all doing the same doggone thing. ICE is Border Patrol, but Border Patrol is ICE. I know that's not specific, but at the same time, I don't know. That's just how I see it. Okay. But yeah.
Can you tell me what happened to your nose?
What made you take the action to take it?
I'm gonna roll back. I'm gonna roll back a little bit, because even so, there's one thing. Apparently, the guy said something along the lines of that particular officer that we just saw. Allegedly, he said, like, "Where are the cops?" Or he said something like that. Allegedly, he was like, he's standing there and he's like, "Where are the cops, man?" And cops aren't doing anything. Cops aren't showing up. Cops aren't showing up at all, man. They sitting on the sidelines like this, just drinking their coffee, their donuts, being like, "No, we'll wait." It's crazy. It's crazy that we're seeing this. Well, let's take a look at this. What happened to him?
I was just standing there yelling at him. Get your pussy ass! I'm kidding, police!
Oh, he just shot. Wow. So he just shot that guy in the chest. That's crazy. So he threw a tear gas thing out and then he shot that guy in the chest.
I wasn't even doing anything. I was just standing there yelling at him.
y'all could do me a favor, hit that like button down below, please and thank you. Please, let's get it up. Let's get those likes up, please. If we can get to 1K, that'd be really appreciated. Let's get those likes up, please and please and please and thank you. Okay, don't forget to subscribe. We're almost at 188. We are almost there at 188. If like 200 of y'all just hit the like, we'd be at 188 today in this stream. So please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe, please, and thank you. Okay, more craziness, more updates, more information, and more investigations and conversations to come. And by the way, this is courtesy of BG on the scene, just so you know. But this is something that I was watching last night. I'm like, dang, this is just crazy. But let me roll it back just a little bit more, because clearly there was a lot of chaos that happened last night. Let's just roll back a tiny bit. This is what it looked like in the beginning. So I'm going to mute this really quick because I do want to, and it's still playing. I'm going to let it play for a little bit. We're going to rock with this for a second. But I do want to make this abundantly clear, something that just crossed my mind. Not only is Trump very concerned about his approval rating, which is just plummeting every single day after things like this happen, after what happened to Alex Pretti. By the way, let me just say this. May he rest in peace. My thoughts and prayers, of course, thoughts and prayers. I know that sounds very like staple response, but it is true. My thoughts and prayers go out to his friends and his family and all those that have been deeply touched by this situation, because this is a very sad situation that happened here. The cover up is real. The lies are definitely happened from our own administration, and Trump knows that. One thing is that is for sure. He's very concerned about getting more funding for ICE, for these ICE agents and for the department. That's not going to happen anymore because of what happened here. Democrats are going to be like held to the gnaw when it comes to the signing any bills in regards to funding for the Department of Homeland Security, especially when it comes to ICE. This is not going to happen anytime soon. Like I said before, we are 4 days away from a government shutdown, which will most likely happen unless there's a situation where they find a happy medium, a common ground between, across the aisle, and they're able to negotiate some things so that, the government can stay open. But I doubt that's what's going to happen. Let's not forget as well, Trump is very concerned about midterms right now. Midterms are a very, very big deal for him. Right now, this is a very bad look for Republicans. There's a good possibility there's going to be a blue wave that's going to be happening over the next several months with the amount of midterm elections that are going to start trickling out, okay, that are going to start happening here very, very soon. He's very concerned about these midterms. So he wants Republicans to look clean, look good. But here's the thing. We have a situation that just happened to Alex Pretti. Let's not forget what happened to Renee Good. It's all bad. It's not a good look. And you got more and more people enraged now than ever before. Like I said before, there are people on the right that are absolutely devastated by what happened here to Alex Pretti. Someone who should still be alive today. So Trump is tripping. Trump is most definitely tripping right now. And he's trying to walk it all the way back because he needs those midterms. If those midterm elections go blue, he is screwed. Just so you guys know. Oh, and that government shutdown, we're going to see his true colors shining through. Wait for it. Because you know for a fact he's going to, like he did in November, he going to use federal funding. He's going to use the people, the American citizens that rely on those federal fundings. He will use that against every single last one of those Democrats when this shutdown happens, and it will happen. Unless some stroke of miracle happens in the next 4 mother-loving days. But I doubt that's going to happen because people are still raging in the streets. People are still mad about what happened here to Alex Pretti. And they haven't done anything to make that wrong right. Let's continue. And one thing I was fearing, they did it. They broke the window. I didn't see that last night, but they broke the window. And I mean, it's like, damn, this whatever suites by Hilton, damn, they didn't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like they got ICE agents in there, but like, damn, you ruining the place. This is crazy. Okay, this is absolutely crazy. This is crazy. I'm trying to get up to the place where the agent actually shows up. I'm just trying to find that moment.
Where's the local PD?
You hear that? He says, "Where's the local PD? Where are the cops?" He's literally saying that out loud. Where's the cops, man? Where are the cops, man? But they're nowhere. They're nowhere to be found. Crazy, right?
Where's the local PD? What's your message to the local PD, sir? No. What about the mayor?
Sir, while you're giving messages, what would your message to the protesters that want you out be? As long as you're giving comments, do you have any comments to the people that want you out?
Back up! Please, give me some room!
You have blood on you.
Yeah, he must have fallen on his face or something. Like his nose is all mashed up. That's why people are like, "What happened to your nose, man?" Because it's not the protesters that did this, from what we understand. He may have, like, in a hurry, was trying to run out and maybe trip and fell and hit his nose, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Or ran into something. I don't know. That's strange that he's showing up all bloodied. That's weird.
It's me and 30 people. Please get back.
Officer, I am also a paramedic. You are bleeding. Can I help you?
I'm fine.
Are you sure?
I'm fine.
Sir, you're giving comments to the local PD. Do you have any comment to the community, the people that want you out, the people who are here specifically because your department is here? Do you think it's worthwhile if you're going to give comment? Don't you have comment for the people of Minneapolis?
He cannot comment. I have nothing to say, he said.
Can you tell me what happened to your nose?
What made you take the action to take it?
Stay on that side of the road. There's no signs of crooks. You gotta get down and get out of the way. Get back! Yes, I'm used to party. Don't bring them out here. They let you mask up. Get your mask up, let's go. Are you ready? Yeah. Yep, I'm right here. Yeah. Hey, I'm right here. Are you found the ball? Get the ball. No. Get back.
What's up with this dude?
Not enjoying this, you better quit. There are like an infinite number of other jobs.
Man, yeah,
But we need you here.
he bleeding bad, y'all. That's crazy. What happened? What happened to this dude? Why did he show up all jacked up? That's what I think too. Like Nicole B, I think that he tripped. Like he tripped over or slipped on something and hit his face like hard. That's just the only other thing I can think of. You know?
All right, thank you.
It's ICE. They contracted guys.
Got it.
They just can't have a normal uniform. Like any other form of law enforcement. You know you shot some like dude with a beanbag at point blank range who was just banging a pan? Is that a crime now?
No, it's not the time. Honest to God, no, it's not the time.
We are press, sir.
You understand? Are you press?
Is
Are you press?
Is only press allowed to be on the street?
Are you press?
I'm documenting like
Then
anybody
back
else.
up. Back up now. Back up.
You're gonna start lighting people up, baby.
I mean, I know nobody. Although they have been singing it, so they came in here, I guess. Is this even part of their So they could have brought them
No.
By the way, Sydney Sweeney is an idiot. I'm just going to say that out loud, just so you guys know. No, it has nothing to do with her having great genes or anything like that. She's just dumb. Sorry for the left turn, but just wanted to share that with y'all. She might get arrested here soon. What? Yeah, she's an idiot. She's an idiot. She's an idiot. She's an idiot.
Was that yesterday? Yes, it was yesterday. I was thinking I have no skill. I was here for part of it. I mean, obviously, I see the face out. Yeah. That's why I'm shocked that they never brought the police. As far as I know, they just
That looks like police right there.
Get up here, push it back. Push it back.
Get out of the way, Nicole. Get out of the way.
You press? Or you press?
Only press.
Get back. Amen. Get back.
This is insane.
Time to step down. It's a great time to step down, please. Please. Okay, we got it.
This is the Minneapolis Police Department. We're all under arrest. Sit down. This is the Minneapolis Police Department. You are all under arrest. Sit down on the ground.
You really think people are going to sit their asses on the ground? Everybody kicking rocks. Everybody kicking rocks right now.
This is a lawful order for the Minneapolis Police Department. This is a lawful order for the Minneapolis Police Department. You are under arrest.
Get out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Let's go. Let's go. Keep moving. Let's go. Keep moving.
Press.
Just letting you know he's over there. Just letting you know. He's in the white car. The white car.
Did everybody get? You know if everybody got now? Because like it seems like where we can stay. Yeah. Are you okay? All right. By the way,
This is crazy. Crazy, guys. Crazy. Taking a little bit of a left turn. Just one quick left turn. All right. Because we got to talk about Sydney Sweeney. I'm sorry, we do. Just for a hot minute, just to kind of alleviate some of this craziness. Now, just so you know, Sydney Sweeney is looking at she could possibly get arrested for vandalism because she climbed up to the Hollywood sign. I'm not kidding. She climbed up to the Hollywood sign. That's her right there. And she hung brassiers onto the Hollywood sign because she's trying to promote her lingerie line. I mean, it's true. It's not a joke. It sounds like a joke, but clearly it's a really stupid publicity stunt that could very well get her locked up for vandalism. This is actually what happened apparently last night. So while the world is losing its mind and trying to get justice and trying to get ICE from, being crazy out here in these streets and murking people, we got her still trying to say that she has great genes. Now it's for them tatas. Okay. Yeah. She trying to hold it up, not hold it down for that bustier, for that décolletage. So let's get into this.
Sick.
Oh, that was amazing.
Good job. I feel like
What in the hell are they do? Like, this is a level of dumb I've of the likes I've never seen before. And again, you'd think that she's like a smart individual, but she's not. This is really dumb. Like I said, she's an idiot. And I'm going to say it. I don't care. She's an idiot. This is dumb. This is she didn't I'm going to say I'm hoping that she wasn't thinking straight, and she's like, "Oh, this would be a great idea." When in actuality, there are people out here that are going to look at this and go, she didn't even ask, like, would this be considered vandalism? Is this trespassing? Am I breaking laws here by being up here doing this? She doesn't even do that. She goes with a bunch of friends dressed all in black, by the way. So they knew they were trying to do like some sort of covert type of operation. And then draped her brassieres all over the Hollywood sign. This is dumb. This is dumb. She's an idiot. I'm sorry, guys. I know there's other people like, Sydney Sweeney, she could do no wrong, right? And I know that there's those that are out there that will say, yeah, she could do no wrong because she likes getting in her birthday suit. And I guess she's curvaceous. But in actuality, this is a level of idiocy I've never seen before. Who is her team, and why would her team say, yeah, go ahead and do this? This is a great idea. This is a fantastic idea. No, it's absolutely dumb. It is absolutely dumb. Okay? Here's the article. I was looking for it.
Remember what it felt like to be a little kid? Stores were playgrounds, and your mom's shoe closet
was like being a little kid. So anyway, here's what's going on. So Double D bust for Hollywood sign for Sydney Sweeney for what she did, possible trespass and vandalism. This is just dumb. So she snuck up the LA mountain a few days ago, climbed the iconic Hollywood sign, and laced it with bras. And she may have gotten in trouble with the law. So they obtained the video of her doing this thing, draping. Look at that. Look at all of those. Like, I know you might not be able to see what's going on, but look, she really did put a whole lot of bras across the entire Hollywood sign. Sydney and her crew made their way to the top of the letters and strung up a clothesline of bras. She was gleeful as she surveyed her handiwork. So, as for why she did it, this was a video to promote the launch of her new lingerie line. So Jeff Bezos is an investor, so it's well funded for sure. This is the Bezos connection that got her an invite to the Bezos-Sanchez wedding last summer. So now the problems. We learned Sydney got a permit from Film LA to shoot the Hollywood sign, but she did not have permission to touch or climb the sign itself. And like the bras,
in my first pregnancy, I gained 65 pounds. During
Really?
my second one, I had high blood pressure,
Wow.
gestational diabetes.
That's
I
amazing.
was terrible.
I don't know why keeps doing that. But as I was saying, before I was rudely interrupted, so she had a permit to film the scene, or like film the sign, but she did not have permission to touch or climb the sign itself. And of course, hanging the bras on the sign and everything. Okay, the permit had strings attached. Get what they did there? straps attached would have worked better. But moving on. Okay. It says, Marcus, it has come to our attention that you and crew filmed the Hollywood sign last night for a production connected to Persuasion Pictures. Please be advised that the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce owns the intellectual property rights to use the image of the Hollywood sign, and neither you nor the production company have sought or received permission to use images captured for any commercial shoot. We understand that you received a film permit from Film LA, whose staff assures me that you were notified of the requirements to seek a license from the chamber prior to your shoot. Please contact me so that we can discuss this and work to reach an agreement on your
Remember
proposed.
What it felt like to be a little kid?
What the hell is
Stores
going on
were
here?
playgrounds, and your mom's shoe closet was a world of.
I don't know why this is tripping, but it's tripping. So anyway, so they basically are saying, let's please reach out so we can work out an agreement on the proposed use of our IP. Thank you for your consideration. So of course the email was from the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce that which owns the Hollywood sign. They made it clear her production company was notified that she could not shoot the sign or use the video without prior approval from the chamber. So she was seen climbing down the hill, showing all of this footage and whatnot. And again, I mean, that's pretty insane if you really think about it. You know, you have footage, you have it on film. She was committing a crime caught on film, and she's giddy as hell. Unless she said out loud, my team told me I'd be able to do this, so I thought it was okay. So I did what I did. But I doubt that's the case here. I'm just going to be real. I don't think she thinks thoroughly, and I don't think she has a team that's doing the thinking thoroughly for her as well. I'm just saying that out loud, okay? Now, this is a really, really dumb attempt at trying to get some attention. Here's the other thing, too. Why would, if you did have permission to do so, why would you sneak up in all black to do this? Think about that for a second. If you had the rights to do it, and there was going to be no problem with you doing it, it's not like people are up there you know what I mean? It's not like people are going to go, oh my gosh, it's Sydney Sweeney. What's up with all these bras? They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. Why would go up there in all black trying to do this all incognito? You see what I'm saying? That doesn't make any sense. But again, that's a level of stupidity of the likes I've ever seen, of the likes I've never seen before. So there's that. Just needed to share that with you guys because that, like I said, is a level of dumb. And she keeps making dumb choices. Okay? She keeps making really, really dumb choices. So we'll see how that transpires. All right? Now, I don't know if you guys saw, I'm just going to speak on this very briefly, but Kanye West put out a full page apology about his anti-Semitic remarks, his hateful rhetoric, etc., making those t-shirts. Shoot, he should apologize for the Double H song. You know that song that he made. He should be going out of his way to be like, yo, lo siento. I made some bad mistakes, and those songs and that merchandise, etc., I shouldn't have done. But that's what he's doing now. So allegedly, Kanye West is finally back on his meds again. Allegedly. We'll see how much of that is true. Okay? But I have to wrap up the show here. But I will be back to talk to you guys a little bit later on this afternoon. So that is the show. Oh, snap. I keep doing this every time, the super chats. I'm sorry, guys. I'm very, very sorry. Let me do this really quick, okay? Let me do these super chats here real quick, okay? But Allie, thank you so much. Caroline. Yeah, she's Caroline. Yeah, she's lying like a mug, okay? Dolores, thank you so much for the love. That was so wrong. Yes, it was. Okay, so wrong. The one King David, thank you so much. They got Minnesota looking like a war-torn country. Yes. But like I said, I feel like we're back to what it was like with Portland. You know, remember with Portland, Seattle, etc. I mean, there was a lot of cities that were just torn up before, you know? So again, we'll see. You know, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully things will subside here very, very soon. Annie, thank you so much for the love. Love your show, Pascal. I watch you every day. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate that. No one's above the law, not even ICE. The rep are so pro-life. The Republicans, I think you're saying, is so pro-life, but yet they are unaliving people. Insane. Ain't that crazy? Ain't that crazy? Truer words have never been spoken, right? Hey, lady, thank you so much for the love. Sasha Riley allegations are a pain in DT's butt. Yeah, the Sasha Riley stuff is very interesting. Maybe when we have a lull in the craziness, we might take a listen to some of that Sasha Riley interview and all that. Star Fury, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Yep, government shutdown round 2. The Democrats will not give anything. Here we go again, or here P go again, or here P again. Yes, I agree. Like I said, I have a feeling we are already seeing a foreshadowing of what's to come here very soon. And yeah, Star Fury, I think we're going to be going into another government shutdown very soon. Trump doesn't want that, though. He doesn't. He shouldn't want that. But he will be walking into that, and we will see what happens, right? We will see how he handles all that. Anyway, moving on. Kathy, thank you so much for the super chat. Hey, lady, again, thank you so much. No trad wives here. They make these moms work. That's what's up. That is what's up. You know, to the moms that are working and to the trad moms. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all y'all. You guys all help make the world go round. Let's see. Deborah, thank you so much for the love. ICE does not have a legal right to arrest U.S. citizens, but police do. Well, they say different, though. They say ICE does have the right to arrest people. I don't know. That's what's so frustrating about this. They one side says they can, the other side says they can't. What's the mother loving truth, right? They also do not have the right to pull people over. Police do. So, it's Deborah, I wish, I don't know. Like I said, they say they can, but then some other sides say they can't. I don't even know you know what I mean? We don't even know what's up, what's down. It's very frustrating. BLM, COVID, J6, ICE, all DT psyops. Yep. It's all, like I said, we're just seeing newer versions. This is Trump 2.0. This is Trump second term with like a shot of testosterone. A shot of steroids. You know, it's the same stories, same situations, just a fairly different cast, right? Fairly different cast of actors. So I just hope it doesn't end the way it ended in the first term. You had Rona and you had J6 going on. I just don't want to see that again. Okay. Black Skate, thank you so much for the love. I remember there being this lady with a funny laugh warning us about this. I think she said something about Project 2025 and Trump calling citizens the enemy within and wanting retribution. Anybody remember her? I don't remember the lady with the funny laugh, but there has been a lot of conversation about 2025, Project 2025, and of course, him calling the citizens the enemy within, from within. Absolutely. Okay. And definitely talking about retribution. You don't remember that conversation, that press conference that he had with all the elites? Top brass were sent to the Pentagon, uplifted from wherever they were possibly stationed at solely just to be right there at the Pentagon to hear Pete Hegseth go, we ain't going to deal with fat generals no more. And we're not going to do any of that he, she, she, he type of stuff no more. We're done with that BS. Do you understand? Everybody's going to have a six-pack in this room. I need to see tight asses. All y'all. Ain't no more flabby asses. If you have a flabby ass, you're gone. Remember all that? Before Pete Hegseth said all that stuff, Trump went up there and said, yeah, we need to protect ourselves from the enemy from within. He said it himself. He most definitely said it himself, dagnabbit. Insane in the membrane. Moving on. Black Skate, thank you so much for the love again. It's Kamala, sir. It's Kamala, sir. Hold on. It's Kamala, sir. I forgot what that's referencing. I'm sorry. But the enemy within is Kamala. Is that what you mean? I think he was. I think he was talking about the enemy within, meaning like other, like, you know, protesters, etc. You saw him say, "Oh, the lady with the funny laugh is what you're talking about." Well, she did mention a lot of things that have come true. That is true. Okay, whether you like her or not, she said a lot of things during her very short campaign. She did say a lot of things. You see what I'm saying? She did say a lot. So yeah, now I get the laugh. She does have a funny laugh. She does. She laughs a lot. She does. But we'll see what happens here. But I'll be back on in a couple hours. There's a lot that we still need to talk about. There's a lot still developing. So when we get there, I'll see you guys in a couple hours and we'll talk about those things in a little bit, okay? But that is the show. Finally, it's the show. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. Please do me a favor before you head out. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do it, or do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, make sure you hit that follow button. Hit that subscribe button here on my main channel right here, please, and thank you. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there. Hit that notification bell on both channels so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it is random. Hit that join button down below, become a member. Check out my Patreon, and of course, check out PascalMerch.com. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Much love to you guys, and I'll be talking to you guys very soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.